the Hollywood Unapologetic Podcast with Orlando Delbert, Filmmaking Essentials. Welcome back. Okay, so this is our 5th time looking into AI in filmmaking.
Right. We've covered a lot already. Scripts, visuals, even on-set stuff.
Exactly. But today, we're hitting a really critical stage, one that often feels a bit opaque, maybe? Distribution.
Getting the film out there.
Yeah, how AI is starting to weave into getting films from, the creators to the audience. That's our mission today.
Specifically into distribution, the whole journey, really. Cinema screens, streaming, whatever it might be.
So what sources are we drawing on for this?
Well, we've got a mix. Some history on distribution, a really practical viewpoint from a book called Pollyanna's Tear-Soaked Battlefields of Hollywood, a survival guide against the cynicism and the hypocritical, and also some info on the latest AI tools for licensing and media supply chains.
Okay, sounds like a good spread. So let's maybe start with the history, just to set the scene.
Makes sense. Understanding where we came from helps understand AI's role now. Some of this comes from, background reading like Wikipedia on film distribution.
And it's changed dramatically, hasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Think about this. Back in the late 60s, early 70s in the US, a film could be in theaters exclusively for over 5 years.
5 years. Wow. That's almost impossible to imagine now.
Right. Before it even showed up on TV. Half a decade.
So what started changing that?
Well, pay television started chipping away at it around 79. Film started hitting homes maybe 1 or 2 years after the cinema release.
Still a long time by today's standards.
Definitely. But the big shift, the real game changer, was home video in the early 80s.
VHS.
Exactly. And theater owners, understandably, were pretty nervous. They thought, if people can rent the movie soon, why come to the cinema?
That's a fair point, right? Takes away the urgency.
It does. And by 1985, in the US at least, that window between cinema and home video was down to 4 to 6 months.
Okay, that's a big shrink.
Huge. Then pay-per-view squeezed it further, and free TV was maybe 2 years after theatrical.
Interesting that France was different, though. You mentioned they protected a longer window.
Yeah, they had laws for a 1-year theatrical window before home video back then. Different priorities, different market structures.
And all this shrinking must have really impacted the smaller theaters, the second-run places.
Oh, for sure. Those sub-run theaters, they depended on playing films after the big first run. Shorter initial runs meant less value for them.
So fast forward a bit. By 2019, pre-pandemic, the average window was
down to about 3 months in the U.S. Studios were pushing hard, trying to make up for falling DVD sales.
which cinema owners probably weren't thrilled about.
Not at all. Lots of tension there.
Okay, so that historical context is super helpful. It leads us right into the modern day where things look completely different again.
Totally. Streaming, digital platforms, it's a whole new ballgame. We looked at an audio source, filmmaking's 5th stage, that really gets into this.
And the big theme seems to be technology opening doors, democratizing things.
That's a key takeaway. Filmmakers have ways to get their work seen, make money, options that just didn't exist not that long ago.
They talked about direct-to-consumer, DTOC.
Yeah.
Can we unpack that a bit? Sounds like cutting out the middleman?
Essentially, yeah. Instead of just handing your film over to a big distributor, you can build a relationship directly with your audience.
Direct control.
More control, potentially more direct revenue, yeah.
The audio gave some cool examples. Angel Studios.
Right. Audience funding, audience voting on projects, that's radical. It builds community from the start, creates a ready-made audience almost.
Yeah, that's fascinating. And MUBI, that's more curated, right?
Exactly. Aimed at an art house crowd. Very specific taste. They even bundle in cinema tickets sometimes. It's about finding your niche.
And there was advice in there from Crew in Motion, basically saying, know your audience and let that drive your distribution plan.
Which sounds obvious, but it's maybe more crucial now than ever, isn't it? With so many options.
Right, like maybe a small indie film should focus on social media buzz and a digital release first.
Exactly. While a huge blockbuster probably still needs that big theatrical launch to make a splash.
So the message is, filmmakers need to be proactive, chart their own course. Self-distribution, smart partnerships.
That seems to be the vibe, forging your own path.
Which brings up that question from the audio again. The lines are blurring between watching in a cinema and on your phone. What other new models might pop up?
It's the big question, isn't it? Exciting, maybe a little daunting.
And this is where AI starts to enter the picture more formally, right? Not in making the film, but managing its journey after it's made.
Precisely. We looked at an article from Vitrina AI about boosting licensing rights management. This is about the nuts and bolts of getting the film seen legally and profitably.
Okay, so AI for the business side, like digital rights management, DRM.
Yeah, that's a big one. AI can basically act like a watchdog online, scanning for illegal uploads or uses of the film, protecting the intellectual property.
That sounds incredibly useful, especially now. Content gets shared everywhere.
Everywhere. And then there's rights tracking. Imagine keeping tabs on all the different deals in different countries with different expiry dates.
Nightmare spreadsheet territory.
Totally. Machine learning can automate that, track usage, flag expiring deals. It avoids errors, potentially lost money.
Makes sense. And risk analysis too, like scanning contracts.
AI can analyze the legal language, look for potential conflicts, compliance issues, things that could cause trouble later, saves headaches, potentially legal fees.
The article also mentioned some more forward-looking stuff. Personalized licensing.
Yeah, this is pretty interesting. AI could analyze audience data viewing habits, demographics, to suggest really specific licensing deals you might not have thought of.
Wow, like targeting super niche audiences in specific regions.
Potentially, yeah.
Yep.
A level of granularity that's hard to achieve manually.
And cross-platform licensing. That feels essential now.
Absolutely. Managing rights across streaming, download, maybe future platforms we don't even know yet. AI can help streamline that complexity, make sure the film is where people expect it.
And AI helping with negotiations, using data to figure out fair prices.
Right. Using predictive analytics, it could give filmmakers, especially independents, better data to argue for fair market value in deals.
So it could sort of level the playing field a bit, giving smaller players access to sophisticated analysis.
That's definitely one potential upside. And you connect this back to those shrinking windows, all the different platforms. You see how tools like Vitrina, which help connect filmmakers with buyers and distributors globally, become really valuable.
Okay, so we have the history, the new tech, the AI tools.
Yeah.
But we also need the reality check, right? The practical side of dealing with the industry.
Exactly. And that's where that book, Pollyanna's Tear-Soaked Battlefields of Hollywood, comes in strong. It gives you that boots-on-the-ground view.
So what's the core message from Pollyanna regarding distribution?
Number one, think about distribution early. Like when you're developing the film, it can't be an afterthought.
Who's the audience? How will we reach them? That kind of thing.
Exactly. And it lays out the options. Theatrical, DVD, Blu-ray, digital downloads, streaming, and the traditional distributor playbook, the premieres, the press junkets, the marketing push.
Sounds glamorous, but the book probably gets into the less glamorous side too.
Oh, yeah. It talks a lot about indie films, often funded by pre-selling rights and private money, leading to what are called negative pickup deals.
Okay, can you break down what a negative pickup deal is, simply?
Sure. Basically, the filmmaker makes the film independently. Then a distributor agrees to acquire the finished film, the negative, for distribution.
Got it. And the money side?
The distributor usually pays for marketing and advertising the P&A costs. They recoup those costs first from any revenue, and then profits get shared based on the agreement. The producer often gets an advance payment too.
Producers try to get the biggest advance possible because seeing back-end profit can be tricky.
Very tricky. The book warns about being careful not to reveal your exact production budget because a distributor might use that to lowball their offer.
Smart. And it really hammers home understanding the contract, right? Especially how net profits are defined.
Critically important. That definition can be, let's say, creatively structured sometimes. And this is where those AI contract analysis tools we talked about could be a lifesaver for a filmmaker.
Spotting the potential traps makes total sense. The book also mentions distributors making quick, exploding offers.
Yeah, putting pressure on filmmakers to sign fast, maybe before they've explored all options. It stresses needing a strategy, talking to multiple distributors if possible.
And again, hearing real stories about this stuff probably helps filmmakers prepare.
Definitely provides context and maybe some strategies.
So we've got this picture. Old models shifting, new tech like AI managing complexity, direct-to-consumer options growing, but also these hard-nosed business realities. A lot.
It is a dynamic space, no doubt, constantly changing.
And it brings us back to that point about the lines blurring cinema, phone, tablet. How people find films is just different now.
Which makes that question about future distribution models even more relevant. What haven't we even thought of yet?
So for filmmakers listening, the advice seems to be stay flexible, stay informed.
Absolutely. Position yourself now. Get familiar with these AI tools. Understand direct-to-consumer thinking. These could be key to navigating what comes next.
Right. Understanding AI for rights, maybe exploring niche audiences directly, considering self-distribution or hybrid models. It's all on the table now. in a way it wasn't before.
So we've gone from 5-year theatrical windows to AI-driven contract analysis. We looked at the history, the tech, the practicalities.
So a final thought to leave you chewing on. With all this change, technology, platforms, business models, what are the fundamental things about connecting a film with an audience that won't change? What stays constant for filmmakers, no matter the tech? Something to mull over. You can find more insights on navigating the entertainment industry and achieving success in Orlando Delbert's work, including his book, Pollyanna's Tear-Soaked Battlefields of Hollywood, a survival guide against the cynicism and the hypocritical, and of course, the Hollywood Unapologetic platform. And always remember, you are the key to your own success. You are the new Hollywood generation.
Be informed, be prepared, and most importantly, be great.
That's it. Be great. Good luck out there.
See you next time.